And welcome everyone, I am the only Russian around and today I will tell you about quite unique video game X-Blades. This game originally was called Oni Blade and supposed to be released in late 2006, but developers decided to make it better and delayed it for November 2007. It was created by Russian developers Gaijin Entertainment and was promoted as the first Russian anime-stylized video game. It is only partially true because before Oni Blade there were a visual novel, which wasn't actually a game, and some strange puzzle adventure, both of them released only in Russia. In 2005-2007, anime became huge in Russia. Central television, newspapers, magazines, not to mention internet, it was everywhere. Of course there were anime fans before mid-2000s, but in that time it became mainstream because of internet and local networks. So developers decided to catch a wave and release anime-themed game, and word expanded really fast. Every anime fan knew about Oni Blade and was waiting for it. And when it released it was quite hard to find a copy as I remember, but most people were frustrated because game was not what it was advertised. Developers told us that it was Tomb Raider killer, which is not even close. They told us that it was inspired by Final Fantasy VIII, which is also not true. They told that they had Devil May Cry and God of War as inspirations, which wasn't true either. They even called this game a fighting, and asked real-life martial artists to play it and tell about its battle mechanics. It looked really weird. And so, PR almost killed this game. This game is a horde-based hack and slash, but it is not isometric, but third person, which automatically gives it looks of a big beat-em-up game from Japan. No one will demand Devil May Cry fighting mechanics from isometric hack and slash or shooters like Crimson Land or so, and change of camera's position won't make it a different genre. And this is a root problem. For basic hack and slash it is a solid title with decent gameplay and really good graphics, and 70 of 100, the best score on Metacritic, is a quite fair mark. For Devil May Cry like beat 'em up, it is 20 out of 100, the lowest score on Metacritic, no doubt. So, this is a game for people who like straightforward simplistic gameplay, not for anime fans or slasher fans who were raised on major AAA titles. For game made in Russia by an experienced small team, with little budget, with self-developed technologies, game sold decent amount of copies. Because of it, game publishers decided that this game has potential and requested what nowadays called HD remake. And in 2009, Gaijin improved game as they could and released it worldwide on PC, Xbox 360 and PS3 as X-Blades. For Japanese release, full voice dub was made with some major voice actors. Rie Kugumia, voice of Toradora's Taiga, Luis from Zeronauts Kaima, Happy from Fairy Tail and so on. And Satoshi Hino, voice of main protagonists from the same Toradora, Zeronauts Kaima and many others. It was a nice touch from developers to bring famous voice actors together while they share a long history of collaborations. In Japan, game was published by Ubisoft, and I guess was popular enough to spawn a sequel, published by Konami. And about voice actors of English version. I'm not sure about it, but it seems that voice actress that was listed in credits is not a real person. However, voice of Twilight Sparkle and Arkham City Harley Quinn I recognize anywhere. So I'm 95% sure that Ayumi was voiced by Tara Strong, but used generic name in titles. Jay has maybe 5 lines, and so the Dark and Light bosses. Story in general exists only to explain ancient ruins decorations. But Japanese release had exclusive manga, which provided some exposition. And another interesting thing about Japanese release. For PS3 version, publisher asked to make Ayumi's underwear less controversial, to make it more tasteful. Also, there are several box arts, and one of these is a slightly changed artwork, this. I guess you'll agree that with this face Ayumi looks stupid, and new face is much better. With that said, I'll address the game itself. It has simple mechanics, one button for slice, one button to shoot. There are 3 levels for melee, shooting and anti-air strikes. With melee you have standard combo, one focused combo to deal with single enemies and a finishing shot that has increased power and blasts enemy out, so sometimes it's useful. Also, you learn several aerial moves with each level. Shooting is just shooting. With achieving levels, Ayumi learns to shoot several targets at once and shoot faster. Also, there is what game calls magic. Lightning, fire and ice. Standard stuff. Projectile, AoE and infusing blades make them more powerful, and adds elemental damage to bullets. In addition, there are light and dark magic, same stuff, but it gives you special form with increased speed and damage. At first you gain dark magic, which at one point exchanges with light, as well projectile and AoE. Also, there are moves, type of magic in some way. Earthquake move, teleport, improved teleport with strike, and Omnislash-like move that deals a lot of damage. And different types of bullets, widespread, ricocheting, and powerful blast with charging time, each one with improved form. You can make your own build and experiment with stuff. It's not large but sufficient variety. If some of you played Koei's Warriors franchise, you'll find battling system familiar. You slice enemies, build in rage, then deal 1 or 2 powerful moves, and then build rage again. In some stages you have to destroy spawning objects, magical spheres or special enemies. In others you deal with waves of enemies or large bosses. You can call it monotonous, but game is really short, 5 or 6 hours if you are not grinding or completing everything up to 100%. Bosses are somehow tactical. You cannot simply shoot or hurt them with blades. You must firstly do something, and only then, when boss is vulnerable, use specific magic or special move against it. There are consumables located on levels and acquirable in pause menu, but one of these is special – yellow crystals. It could be found on early stages, and they are increasing amounts of experience you gain by killing enemies or breaking objects, so don't miss it. There are 2 sets of clothes, one regenerating and one armored. You can gain one of these during game, and then choose one when starting new game after completion. PS3 version featured 3 additional levels that were released as DLC for Xbox 360, and supposed to be released on PC as well, but for some reason didn't. Also, there were rumors about future DLCs and something called X-Blades Postmortem. That supposedly was the name for an unreleased DLC. Music is good and game even has generic but nice vocal main theme, but soundtrack has a story itself. At that time, group of musicians One Shot had their latest album leaked, so the official release never happened. Developers approached them and licensed leaked music to use in-game. X-Blades is a game with a story around which far more sophisticated than story in-game. I guess at first it should have been cel-shading game, like in cutscenes, and game with 2 playable characters. Jay was almost everywhere with Ayumi on early artworks, so I think it's a fair guess. And he helps you at one boss fight with his own moveset. In Oniblade, Ayumi was called an Oniblade, and some old official artwork refers to her as Belinda aka Ayumi. I really like this game. I played it when it was released as Oniblade, I played it when it became an X-Blades, I found a Royal Edition on eBay and played it again. Not because game is really that good, but because it exists, has a long way and interesting story around it. Because it released in perfect time for anime fans in Russia and raised level of Russian games. Maybe for me, as a grind lover, it is a good game. If you demand only best of the best top AAA products, this game is definitely not for you. If you enjoy little things like this simple type of games and have the ability to forgive downsides for good sides, it is definitely worth checking out. I am the only Russian around, and this is it for today's video. See you on the next one.